What's up, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here, and today I finished reading a book. I just started it today, finished it today. Bedlam, Volume 1, written by Nick Spencer and drawn by Riley Rosmo. Nick Spencer wrote a volume of Ultimate X-Men that I reviewed over a year ago, and that's all I've read from him except for this. And then Riley Rosmo, I remembered that name, but I wasn't exactly sure where I had seen his or her art, and then I remembered after seeing one particular panel in this book, he or she, I still don't know if it's a man or a woman, drew Debris, which I reviewed a couple of months ago. And this book is the first 6 issues of Bedlam. I don't know how long the series is or how long it's even been going, but I do know there is a volume 2. So it's not just a mini-series, and the way that this volume ends, it's pretty obvious that there is meant to be more after this volume. And this is so messed up, but it is so fascinating also. I'm usually not a huge fan of the really dark and twisted stuff. Occasionally I will dip my toes in it, but for the most part, I would rather read stuff that's a little bit more happy and joyful, if that makes any more sense. This is definitely not happy and joyful. It's got some funny, quirky moments in it, but for the most part, this is a really dark and twisted series, and I love it so much. I can't explain just how really interesting and awesome this series is. Let me read to you the back real quick, kind of give you an idea of what it's about. Fillmore Press was once Matter Red, a homicidal maniac and criminal overlord who ruled the city of Bedlam. Now he's been cured of his mania and says he wants to help protect the place that he once terrorized. But can he be trusted? It's basically, if I had to give you an elevator pitch in 10 seconds or less, it's basically if the Joker was actually terrifying and then you combined him with A Clockwork Orange. I've never seen or read A Clockwork Orange, but it's basically, as I understand it, these really insane guys who are criminals, they get cured of their criminal minds, and then hilarity ensues. I really don't know what else happens after they get cured, but I do know that there's an organization, maybe the government, that cures these guys and prevents them from committing criminal, violent acts. And that's kind of what goes on here. You got Matter Red, who's this guy. He's a masked supervillain. He doesn't have powers, but he's just crazy like the Joker. Specifically, I was kind of reminded of like the Christopher Nolan version of the Joker, but even that felt very tame compared to this guy. This guy is really scary, and like I said, if the Joker was actually scary, because I like the Joker occasionally, he's a really good foil for Batman, but very rarely does he come off as really menacing and terrifying. This character here is extremely terrifying, and then he is doing very evil things, killing people, holding the city hostage, sort of, and then somehow he gets transferred into the care of this doctor, and this doctor basically says that he wants to rehabilitate this guy and take away all of his crazy, violent tendencies. And then 10 years later is where our story picks up, and we get to see this guy trying to go through life, and his motto is that he wants to help people. He wants to help the city, and it's very interesting because he's not telling anybody, hey, I used to be this supervillain, but he is trying to use his knowledge of killing people and criminal ways. He's trying to use his knowledge of that former life and use it for the good of the city. He's trying to help the police department stop this series of murders, and I'm assuming that each volume is going to be kind of a different villain, and he's going to be helping the police stop this villain. Or the last page here kind of makes it seem like if there's going to be like 3 or 4 more volumes, that each volume is going to be connected to the villain that we have here. And it could go either way. We could have Volume 2 could be some unconnected villain who's not related to anything that happened here, and then Volume 3 might have a couple of those bad guys who we see at the end of this volume who are connected to the bad guy in this volume. So I don't really know. Either way, I think it would be a really good way to take the series. I could take it either way. And I don't want to say a whole lot about this. I feel like I've already spoiled more than I should have, because I should mention I didn't even know what this book was about. I must have at some point heard some really good things about it because I got it for Christmas or my birthday or something, and if I didn't know anything about it, I don't think I would have put it on my Christmas or birthday list. But I didn't know anything about it when I started reading it today, so if I did know something about it, I had forgotten about it. And this is really good. I don't know if I would have been as impressed with it if I had known the premise going in, but I liked it a lot, and I'm really interested to read Volume 2. I can't wait to read the next volume. I'm very curious if this series is still going now, how long it's going to run, and this also makes me a little bit more interested in what Nick Spencer is doing now. I read that one volume of Ultimate X-Men, and I really liked it, but it did not hold a candle to this book, and I'm much more interested in seeing what else he's doing other than this series. If he's doing more stuff at Marvel or DC, I'm going to be paying a little bit more attention to those things and see if this is a fluke or if the Ultimate X-Men book is a fluke. See which one is closer to the norm for that guy. And once again, Riley Rossmo kills it. I mentioned there was just one particular point where I said, that's the artist who did Debris. The style is quite a bit different here. There was that one panel that reminded me of the style from Debris, but for the most part, it's a very different kind of style. It's a little closer to the style of, say, Ashley Wood or Ben Templesmith, kind of closer to that area. Very dark, not a very colorful style, and very sketchy, I guess is a good way to describe it, but I like this a lot better than I like the styles of Ben Templesmith or Ashley Wood. I don't much care for the styles of those artists, but this I liked a lot better. So really, I don't think I have anything bad to say. I would say the only downside of this book, it took a little while for me to get into it. That whole first issue, this is 6 issues, and the entire first issue was a little confusing to me. I had trouble figuring out who this character was. I didn't really know if the main guy that we were following, I had a suspicion that it was Matter Red who we were seeing in flashbacks, but I wasn't entirely sure. I figured surely there's going to be something that they're going to do. They're going to throw a twist ending in there where Matter Red actually turns out to be like the mayor or something like that. I figured they were going to do something like that, but after that first issue where I kind of started to see what was going on, the book really picked up for me, and I really enjoyed it. So I would highly recommend Bedlam Volume 1, and I don't know if Volume 2 is any good, but if this series is still coming out in singles, just based on this volume, I would definitely recommend that you guys go and read the series right now. So that's all I have to say. I hope that you guys found this review to be helpful, and I hope that I was able to convince you to go and read this series, and I will see you guys later in the week with a different kind of video. Until then, catch you later.